One of the best things about college football is that there are big schools, there are medium-sized schools, and there are small schools, and they're all a lot of fun to watch. And today we're going to talk about some of those medium and small-sized schools, but not only are they fun to watch, some of them can beat the big boys, and they better watch out. We got the G5 Hive next on the College Huddle. And joining us this evening on the College Huddle, you know them as the G5 Hive. It's Justice, it's Luke. They are some of the very best podcasters and content creators when it comes to Group of Five college football, and I am privileged to have them with us tonight here on the College Huddle. Good evening, guys. Welcome in.
Thanks, Eric. Glad to be here.
Yes, Luke. Thanks for coming in, guys, tonight. Appreciate that. Your guys' reputation is growing immensely. I've seen some of the comments from some of the G5 content creators and media members, the coaches, even some of the players. You guys are doing a great service for college football, man, and it's awesome to have you guys a part of the College Huddle, and it's great to have you with us this evening.
We're glad to be a part. We're glad to be here, and this summer has been a whirlwind of content. It's like something every single day. Justice, we've probably put out a podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music now, like every day. Well, except for the weekends.
Except for Saturday and Sundays, yeah.
Monday through Friday for weeks now, and it's
been
months. A blast.
It's probably been since I would guess sometime in May, starting in May, through right now, through the second week of August. There we have a new episode Monday through Friday every day, whether it's a team preview with a G5 beat reporter or an interview with the player from the Group of Five. So yeah, a lot of content.
So if you are a fan of any team that's in the Group of Five, or maybe you just want to know more, you need to go follow these guys over here at the G5 Hive. Go check out their stuff. Where can they find you guys, first and foremost? Before we dive into this interview, where can they find you guys? I know you guys got your Twitter handles there where they can follow you personally, but maybe your YouTube channel and some of your social medias.
The YouTube is the same as the X there in the graphic. It's at G5 Hive. Luke, Instagram.
Instagram would be _G5_Hive.
And then the podcast is available on Amazon Music, Apple, and Spotify. We've hit some big milestones recently. We just crossed over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
All right.
That was in this past week. And then, I don't know, like the week before or so, we got a shout out on the Solid Verbal. If you're not familiar with Solid Verbal's, I would tell you it's the biggest independent college football podcast there is. You know, they're not associated with ESPN, FS1, 247, etc. But yeah, they were doing a preview of I think of Conference USA and Ty, one of their hosts. I guess he must have binge watched a bunch of our team previews to prepare for his own show, and so he had sent us an email a week prior telling us how much he loved the show and that he was going to shout us out on the episode that released July 10th. And so, yeah, they did that. And that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always awesome when you know what you're doing is making waves like that, man. So I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of the College Huddle members who are G5 schools and who are content creators for the particular schools that they cheer for, or maybe were alumni of in the G5. And I love it. I love these guys, man. I love what they do for their schools. They're so passionate about their schools, man. And so it's been awesome to dive into it. And one of our better videos was the Marshall video.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, the
Katie and Russ.
Thundercast, man, the
Yeah.
Thundercast is fantastic. And so the Marshall people were all up, oh, they were all up on that, man. They were excited about that, and it was a lot of fun. That is actually one of the longer videos we had. They just had so much they wanted to talk about. But yeah. Anyways, let's get right into it, guys. Let's dive into it. We're just going to shoot off the cuff here because I don't have one particular conference I want to talk about. I don't have one particular team I want to talk about. I just want to just umbrella as much as we can tonight. And so, and I don't know how long I got you guys here for this interview, so I want to pack as much information as I can into tonight's show. So let's see how we can do this tonight. So, that being said, who has been the most impressive team so far you guys have gotten a chance to preview this summer?
I think it's a difficult question, right? Because there's multiple facets.
Yeah.
Is the team itself impressive? Is the person that we interviewed very impressive? They have great,
I'm talking team on the field. Like who's
on the
who's the
field.
G5 team that's really got your interest as far as they're going to be a good team to watch?
San Jose State for me. While
Justice is thinking, Luke, why San Jose State? Why San Jose State for you?
Just they have so much coming back this year. Mountain West is, I guess, kind of perceived to be one of the better conferences with the opportunity to get to the playoffs. The Sun Belt's a really good conference, but they're so good that they just cannibalize each other. So I feel like it's very difficult for a Sun Belt team to ever make it to the playoffs in the current format. So I think the spotlight already being on the Mountain West, I think San Jose State is the team that's really intrigues me, and I guess you would call them a dark horse, but I don't think they're that much of a dark horse. I think they're going to make some noise this year.
I think for me and people that know me, they're gonna say it's a homer pick, but it's probably Old Dominion. I just think, much like San Jose State, they're a team that I don't believe is getting necessarily the credit that they deserve in the Sun Belt. To Luke's point, yeah, the Sun Belt's tough. The Sun Belt, in my opinion, is easily the toughest Group of Five division, from top to bottom, right? The American has some top teams, absolutely, but they're very, very top heavy. Um, Same way I think with the Mountain West. I think from top to bottom, the Sun Belt is probably the toughest conference in the Group of Five. So I think it's very hard for a Sun Belt team to make the college football playoff, right? Just because if a Sun Belt team was ever to go undefeated in conference, they would 100% get my vote if I had a vote in that college football playoff, because I just think that's a very difficult thing to do. But Wild Dominion, they returned their quarterback, Colton Joseph. He's electric. The guy can throw it. He can run it. He had 2 300-plus yard games a year ago. He also had 2 games where he rushed for over 100 yards. He was not the starter to start the season. He came in game 3/4 when the starter got hurt, and he kind of took over that job in week 5 and just kind of ran with it. I have ODU media credentials, so I got to see him all spring, and he looked even better in the spring. Their linebacking core, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, is the top linebacking group in the Group of Five. They might even be top 5 in all of college football. They returned all 3 starters from a year ago: Mario Thompson, Jaleel Colbreth, and Koa. And then they get back an All-American, right? Jason Henderson, All-American in 2 seasons. He had 347 tackles. He did not play last year. He's back, fully recovered, and he's back to lead the Monarchs. And the wide receiver room, talented and very, very deep. I'd say the most talented wide receiver room they've had since, and these 2 guys are NFL guys, Jonathan Duhart and Travis Fulgham. And so I'm just really excited. I think, I don't usually do this to myself because I don't want to deal with the disappointment with my own team, right? But yeah, I expect them to be a force in the Sun Belt this year.
Let's stay right there in Old Dominion. I interviewed those guys
Yep,
and
Mike.
the Monarchists, and I learned a lot about their school. I was digging into them before I interviewed them. Obviously, they start the season against Indiana,
Yep,
and I was thinking, out of all the games that were like, who might be on upset alert early on from the G5 with the Power Four. I think Indiana might want to be cautious there. I think Old
absolutely.
Dominion can
Well,
go
and
in and sting them.
I think they know that. Number one, Kurt Signetti comes from the Sun Belt, right? He was the
Yep.
coach at JMU, and like I don't think it was an accident that Kirk Signetti went out and brought in Grant Wilson to be a backup quarterback for Indiana. Grant Wilson was the starter at Old Dominion last year. I think that was a very calculated and purposeful decision by Signetti, just to try to get as much information as he could on that Old Dominion offense to try to prevent an upset in Week 1. So,
Yeah.
like to me, the fact that he did that just signals to me how concerned probably he is about it, right? Um, now obviously Grant Wilson went there. I think Grant Wilson's his reasoning is probably I think he wants to be a coach, right? And so I think he sees it as an opportunity to perhaps get an early foot in the door, so to speak, as maybe an analyst at Indiana or another a Power Four school. And so I can't blame Grant Wilson for going there, but I certainly believe Kurt Signetti knew what he was doing when he offered Grant Wilson.
Are there any other games that you guys have circled where you think G5ers can pull off an upset over a Power Four in the non-conference this year? I mean,
I mean,
I think the biggest one last year that a lot of people remember is you had Northern Illinois going into South Bend, Indiana, and stinging the team that eventually played for a national championship in Notre
Yeah.
Dame, obviously. Um,
Now,
I think San Jose State, they go to Stanford. I feel like that is a very winnable game for San Jose State. That
last
is, I think, week 4.
last offseason at this time, we were talking about how Memphis was going to go beat Florida State. I think most people thought we were crazy. And as it turned out, Florida State was really, really bad. And so when you look back on it, like you're like, oh, that wasn't really an upset. Well, but this time last year it was, right? Because
mhm.
Florida State was ranked, I don't know, were they ranked like the top 10? And
I think so,
we
yeah.
we told anybody that would listen, Memphis is gonna beat Florida State. Um, when I look at this year's schedule, so I went through each conference and I kind of highlighted the teams I think they have a realistic shot to win the conference, and then looked at their schedules. Toledo at Kentucky, right? I mean, we saw Toledo go down to Mississippi State
Mississippi State. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That's right.
beat them pretty handily last year. It wasn't even a close game, and so that's week 1. Wouldn't shock me if Toledo beats Kentucky. Ohio plays at Rutgers week 1, right?
Mhm.
Ohio won the MAC championship. They were dynamite at the end of the season. Again, they returned their quarterback, return a lot of pieces of that MAC championship team. That wouldn't surprise me if Ohio goes to Jersey and beats up on Rutgers week 1.
Week 3, NIU at Mississippi State. Mississippi State just was pretty much like a bye week for everybody last year. How do they respond and build off of their last year? NIU's good. Their quarterback got an upgrade at quarterback. Feel like that team is going to compete for a MAC championship, so that will be another one week 3, and then even week 2 they play at Maryland. If they're going to play Malik Washington, a true freshman at quarterback, true true freshman quarterback can make a couple of mistakes, and NIU is going to make them pay.
Mhm. It's a good one. Yeah. Maryland is. I'm not super high on them this season. I think Maryland might be the Purdue of the Big Ten. to kind of give everybody an idea of what Maryland might look like this year.
I
And when I say Purdue, the Big Ten, I mean the 1-11 Purdue Boilermakers from a season ago.
I think if Tulane can figure out their quarterback situation, they play Northwestern week 1 and Duke week 3. Yeah, those are opportunities for them. I'm very nervous about their quarterback situation. I think the rest of the team is really, really good. But I'm pretty nervous about the quarterback situation for the Green Wave. But if they figure that out, again, they have good opportunity there. And both of those games are in New Orleans. So Northwestern and Duke are traveling to New Orleans to play at Tulane.
How'd they
Um,
manage that?
so if they could figure out that quarterback situation, I wouldn't hate picking Tulane there.
Well,
Hats off.
I think it's more of a recruiting tactic of you get to go to New Orleans and you get to recruit some of those New Orleans high school kids, thinking you can maybe get an easy win in the meantime.
And then in the meantime, Tulane's thinking, guys, let's bring as many recruits in as we can to watch us possibly beat Northwestern and
Well,
Duke over here.
that Duke game, you got Darian Mensah, third string quarterback. He ends up winning the job at Tulane. Then he transfers to Duke, so that should be a fun game to watch nonetheless, just from a
Yeah,
storyline perspective.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
no joke, absolutely, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
and if you're looking for like just a freaking game, like if you love offense, I wish I could bet the over today, but it's so far out in advance. East Carolina against UTSA in the American. That game is going to be like just fireworks galore. I think it's week 11, week 12, so it's later in the season. But both of those teams have high-powered offenses and defenses that aren't so great. Um, that's that's kind of like if a lot of people look at the American and think the American is the best conference in the G5, but I will tell you, outside of probably Navy, like the rest of them have a lot of question marks. Like I said, Tulane has question marks at quarterback. Memphis has question marks. UTSA, ECU, dynamite offenses. North Texas, electric offense. The defense for those three teams is like, hey, who's going to step up and play defense? We can score a lot of points, but can we stop another team from scoring a lot of points? So, you know, the American I think has a lot of potential, especially on the offensive side. The defense is kind of what concerns me the most for the teams in the American.
Um, you have two new teams entering the FBS um, from the FCS in Delaware and Missouri State, both of them going to Conference USA this year. Which one of those two teams, in your opinion, is going to, I guess, get land on their feet better and get acclimated to the FBS quicker?
Probably Missouri State because they have a quarterback.
I mean, probably depends. Like, do you mean this year who's going to win more games, or you mean like more long term?
Just yeah, who's gonna get acclimated, be some more successful quicker?
Yeah, I would say Missouri State because, like Luke said, the quarterback Jacob Clark is a really really good quarterback. Delaware, I think long term the answer is probably Delaware.
Okay, why's
Um,
that?
I just think you look at their history, man, the FCS, right? Like when people think about Delaware, like way back in the day, like they're the originators of the Delaware wing T offense, right? Um, they've won FCS championships multiple times. They've been a very successful FCS team, and so I think long term they're probably the one to look at. But I think this year it's going to be a little rough. I think their quarterback situation is not great. Their best player is now a New Orleans Saint, running back Marcus Yarns, and so yeah, I think this year, like when I look at the Conference USA rankings, Delaware is getting too much credit, and Missouri State's not getting enough.
Okay.
And Missouri State will have Shamari Lawrence. He comes in from FIU as their starting running back. So, like, usually when you have an FCS team coming up to the FBS, it's like, okay, can these guys kind of like even play up at this level? Well, you've already got a player that's at that caliber. and also pretty familiar with Conference USA. So, like you said, they will definitely help. I think um, they they definitely are one of the top teams in the all of the G5, probably in the top 10, top 15 of returning production for this year. So that will definitely help. And then, like Justice said, with Delaware, they literally, other than quarterback, they return a whole bunch, and they might have the most returning production in the G5 altogether. It's just you have that huge hole at uh, at quarterback. So last year I'm trying to think. I think they went 9-2 last year. They were not eligible to play for the championship because they were moving up to the FBS, and they held back guys to keep red shirts so that they wouldn't be totally screwed when they move up to the FBS and they can play some of those guys. So they managed their roster really really well, knowing that they're making that jump this year. So like Justice says, Delaware in the future has set themselves up for success.
Yeah. And I just had the Feathers and Field Goals podcast. I interviewed them today, and I had to make sure to let everybody know. No, you're not. You don't need to adjust the colors of your screen. That is not the team from Ann Arbor that you'll be watching. That is indeed Delaware,
I
the
wonder,
home of
like,
Joe Flacco and Rich Gannon, and yeah,
yeah,
they've had some ballers come out of there, man.
I often wonder, like, and like, I'm sure, like, someone's gonna scream at me, but like, who had that helmet first, Delaware or Michigan?
Princeton. Oh, I'm sure that'll be someone's in the chats, someone in the comment section is
Oh
gonna have
yeah,
something
oh
to
yeah,
say
oh
about
yeah.
that
But I've
for
often,
sure.
like, I mean, Delaware's been around, like you said. I mean, Rich Gannon was there, Joe Flacco. They've had some talented guys. Um,
Indeed.
and I as an Old Dominion fan, I'm we're familiar with Delaware. We played them back when we were in the CAA, when we were in the FCS. So yeah.
You guys, you kind of just mentioned it a little bit ago. I want to circle back to what you just said about you said that American might be the best conference. What is the best G5 conference from top to bottom, and why?
Sunbelt.
Yeah, Sun Belt.
um, I, just from like I guess to answer your question, why it's from top to bottom one of the best. You got James Madison. They didn't miss a step moving up. They've been doing really well. They'll be some sort of quarterback competition, but they'll be pretty good. Um, Even though Marshall pretty much loses their whole team, I think that they will be pretty. I think whatever the perception is of that team going into this year, they are going to outkick their coverage there and do pretty well. Georgia Southern has a lot of guys coming back, so they're going to be great. App State's got a new staff. They've always been tough. It's hard to play there, so I think they'll be kind of figuring themselves out. Georgia State, I guess, this is like one of those teams I'm loving everything that they're doing there, and they've got Roderick Robinson, I think he was backup
Branson.
third string. Branson Robinson coming in from Georgia. That whole running back room's just a whole bunch of studs. Um, that team, I'm trying to remember the quarterback that they brought in from Texas Tech. Uh,
Cameron Brown.
Cameron Brown. He'll be a name to watch this year. Obviously, Justice talked about Old Dominion. Troy is going to be great. South Alabama just got their quarterback poached, and he's off to North Carolina. But you got Davenport coming in. He's not going to miss a beat. Edith played really well in the bowl game against Western Michigan. Louisiana was kind of a surprise team last year, but they bring in Walker Howard, formerly from LSU. They bring in Sampson, formerly from LSU as well. That should be a dynamic duo to watch. You've got ULM, who Ahmad Hardy went from there to Missouri, but they've got a couple of backs to watch there. Texas State's always fun to watch. I think they're going to be a little bit more ground and pound this year than maybe in years past, but they will be they'll be fun. And then you got Arkansas State with Jalen Rayner. You got Corey Rucker. I forgot in Georgia State you got Ted Hurst. Just top to bottom.
Yeah.
If you want to watch good football, like Sun Belt will be fun.
And the team that was the worst team last year, Southern Miss, guess where that whole team came from? Marshall this year. They got the Marshall head coach, Charles Huff. A lot of the players followed him over there. So yeah, like to me, it's not even close. Southern Belt is definitely the toughest from top to bottom. I've often referred to the Sun Belt East as the G5 version of the old school SEC East.
Yeah. You mentioned Texas State here. Let me throw a difficult question you guys' way. Did they make the right decision by going to the Pac-12?
I think they made what I would consider probably I don't know. It's probably at the end of the day, it's probably a neutral decision. I mean, I think it's the right immediate decision.
Yeah, it's hard with everything going on, and you've got to make a decision pretty quick as to what's going on. I think there's just this fear that if we don't do something, what does our future look like? And I think the G5 as a whole needs to answer that, because I think a lot of the TV contracts come up here in 2032, 2033, which
2030 ish.
so I think a lot of the talk will start drumming up about 2028, because hey, we're going to be about 2-3 years away from these contracts, and what are we going to do, and what does realignment look like? And it just seems more and more like there's going to be this Power Two conference that happens. So what can we do in the meantime? So I think right now it looks like a good idea, and obviously having the Mountain West get a team in Texas helps, especially recruiting. This and that with views should help. NIU going to the Mountain West is another one that's just kind of, there's not really any mountains. I live in Iowa, not a lot of mountains here in the Midwest, but you know, you got Chicago nearby, so you got a lot of people who drive in and out, and I think it's maybe they're looking to not be on Tuesdays all the time, and that should help out. Plus, there, just as we broke down an article months ago about the TV deal and attendance and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it
Action's great for great for like us, right? To be able to watch games on a Tuesday night at home.
because it's cold, I can be inside, but like being there, like they say, it's windy, it's cold. Usually the what is the press box isn't always like the best. Pretty cold. They're like, it's miserable. It's miserable during this. So it'd be great
it sucks from a fan base perspective, right? To have games every Tuesday or every Wednesday, you're not getting butts in the seat. But it's great for being on ESPN. But to answer your question, like Luke said, I think Texas State joining the Pac-12 was a great move today. What that looks like come 2030, maybe it won't be so great. I don't know, but I mean, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I would say for today, just because it's gonna mean more money, 100%. We know that. Like that's a known thing today. But I think to Luke's point, you have a lot of media rights coming up around 2030, 2031. You have the ACC, their grant of rights significantly drops. That money significantly drops in 2030, and so to me, that's kind of like the next big domino when Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, etc., leave and go to the Big Ten or the SEC. What happens with the ACC? Does the ACC end up becoming like the Pac-12, where it's Wake Forest and Georgia Tech left, and everyone else is kind of gone? Or is there going to be enough pieces left to kind of form a new look ACC or whatnot? Like as an Old Dominion fan, I would love to see Memphis and Tulane go somewhere from the AAC, and I'd love to see Old Dominion in a conference with East Carolina and Navy. Right, East Carolina is 2 hours from Old Dominion. Old Dominion is home to the largest Navy base in the world, and so like being able to be in a conference with Navy and East Carolina would be awesome. But I think 2030, and to Luke's point, starting maybe in 2028, you're going to see things kind of start shift. And so short term, yes, Texas State made a good choice. Long term, to be determined.
What's going to happen in the Mountain West?
I mean, I think they're kind of like set now, right? Like Luke said, they added Northern Illinois. They brought over UTEP from Conference USA starting next year. I don't necessarily see them kind of making any more moves unless they were to get wind of like a North Dakota State or a North Dakota or a South Dakota or South Dakota State wants to make a jump up to FBS. And I don't personally see that happening. Um, Sacramento State's kind of been very vocal. They've
Mm-hmm.
appealed to the NCAA. They want to move up. Problem is, nobody wants them. You would think they'd be a natural fit for like a Mountain West or for Pac-12, but it doesn't. It certainly doesn't seem like either one of those teams want them, and or conferences want them. And certainly they had needs, right? Like the Pac-12, if they hadn't added Texas State, they were screwed because they needed an eighth team. Um, but they didn't like Sacramento. Sacramento State didn't mean enough to them to get that last kind of mandatory invite. So that tells me like they're not big fans of Sacramento State. I could see Sacramento State going to Conference USA. I mean, it's not a fit at all, but I feel like Conference USA is kind of like the land of the misfits, if you will.
That's a great way to put it. The land of the misfit toys, Conference USA right now. But those guys are fiercely loyal to those who are in there, man. They're fiercely loyal to their conference, and
There is, and when I say that, I just think like I think of like Liberty, right? Like
yeah.
nobody wanted Liberty, nobody, not a single conference. What did it take for Conference USA to get Liberty? Well, JMU, ODU, Southern Miss, and Marshall said, "See you later. We're going to the Sun Belt," right? And so they had to do something, and so they invited Liberty. Um, and I understand why conferences don't want Liberty. They're a private school. They have a lot of money, and that money speaks volumes when you're competing with public institutions. And so G5s already have financial, constraints, right? And so they don't necessarily want to compete against a school that isn't tied with those same constraints. I
Hmm.
mean, from a and I'm not talking from like an NIL perspective. I don't think Liberty's NIL is actually that strong. But now that you can do revenue sharing, that doesn't really matter. From a revenue perspective, I would tell you Liberty might be the closest thing to G5 in terms of revenue for the school itself. And so I think other group of fives just don't want to compete with that.
Hmm. Is Hawaii the gem of G5? And what I mean by that is, who wouldn't want to go to watch a game in Hawaii? You know what I mean? Like, uh, I I I love it myself. When you saw UCLA week 1 go to Hawaii for a game, and I'm like, well, there's their bowl game this year, everybody. That's where they're gonna go to. They're gonna play Hawaii. I think it's a unique, really cool thing to have an island all those time zones away. Oh, and oh, by the way, there's a college football team there, and they're pretty good a lot of times too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
This year
they're going to be good this year.
this year. Michael Alhado, if you don't know the name, write it down. Quarterback, freshman. Was it Bishop Gorman, the high school over in Las
Vegas,
Vegas?
yeah.
Really good quarterback. His size is what keeps him in the G5. Short guy,
He's like,
but like
I
if
don't know,
he
5'9" on the
5'10",
roster, probably 5'7" in real life.
but like if he had the height or whatnot, he'd be definitely a lefty. He'd definitely be on a power four
Yeah.
roster. Accurate. He runs the ball. Kind of one of those guys that as a fan, it's fun to watch, and as a coach, you're like, get down, get out of bounds, and he just he'll take maybe a couple of hits that he's not supposed to. He's quote unquote got that dog in him. They're gonna sling it around, and it has to work this year. Timmy Chang on the hot seat, like uh, this has got to work for Hawaii this year. So I anticipate fireworks. They got Stanford week 0, so Stanford not all that not all that great. So I think they're on upset alert week 0, and traveling to Hawaii. I know a lot of teams travel early and get there, but it's tough, and I think that they're used to the travel and whatnot. So I think it's in their favor. But Hawaii, a gem, you could say.
Yeah, they if 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 Timmy Chang can't make this run and shoot offense work with Mike Alejado, it's not going to work. But I think it is going to work this year. To Luke's point, I think like I don't remember exactly, but like Alejado, like his senior year of high school, maybe his last 2 years of high school, it was something like 80 touchdowns to 1 interception. Like and Bishop Gorman's like they play high level competition, and so like the kid's he's incredible. Like if he was 2-3 inches taller, he'd be playing at Alabama. He'd be playing at Georgia. I fully expect that Hawaii is going to have 3 1,000-yard receivers this year.
Wow.
I think that is certainly in the realm of possibility, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun on offense.
It might not be exactly, was it 2007 when Hawaii had the 62 touchdown passes, but it'll be
Yeah.
probably one of the most exciting seasons since
Who was
2007.
Who was the? I'm trying to remember if there was it was a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator, maybe even the head coach. Then that was on that team then, and then he ended up going to like USC for a couple years as a coach.
Rolovich. Well, Rolovich was way back then. He was the head coach of Hawaii, and then he went to Washington State. That might be who you're thinking about.
No, it was I want to say
June
Choi.
Jones.
No, Choi or.
Well, Timmy Chang was a quarterback. Chang was a quarterback way back then.
Okay.
He's now the he's now the head coach at Hawaii.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yep.
No, I forget who I'm thinking of, but anyways, you gotta love Hawaii. You gotta love how they bring the cultural stuff into their program. All the colors, the helmets, man.
Hawaii's got an interesting thing too. Is like when there are quarterbacks and players that are doing well at a high school level, they will kids will actually transfer to the mainlands, and it's almost like G5 in itself. Like kind of like if you love us, let us go, and we'll come back type thing. Like they're like, yeah, you really good, go do this, and they go and they transfer and they do this stuff, and then a lot of the times they come back to Hawaii, and that's kind of a recruiting strategy almost, because also when it comes to recruiting, you don't be like, okay, I'm going to give Justice a visit, and Justice doesn't really want to come to Hawaii. He just wants to use us as a nice vacation. So they're actually late to the table on a lot of guys because they want to make sure that the guys are committed and really want to come to Hawaii. Going back to what Justice says, as a junior, Alejado completed 76% of his passes for 3,575 yards, 54 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. It's going to be awesome to watch. He did get to play one game as a true freshman against New Mexico, which was not a great defense.
Yeah, New Mexico's probably the worst defense in all of FBS last year, or one of the worst.
I don't have his stats off the top of my head,
but it was like 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 80 yards rushing, something like that,
and a touchdown. Yeah, he crushed it.
Can you imagine? I mean, I can't blame a kid to going home to Hawaii. Going home to Hawaii makes sense to me. How could you blame a kid for that, man? It's like beautiful there. That's really cool. All right, so last year, first year of the 12-team playoff, a G5 school is guaranteed. Top G5 school is guaranteed to get a position in the playoff. That happened to end up being Boise State last year. what does Boise State look like this year, and what are their chances of repeating?
Well, they lose like the man, Ashton Genty, right? Like
Yeah,
the guy that should have won the Heisman, um, best player in college football. Last time I checked, playing multiple snaps is not does not make you the best player. Not to say Travis Hunter wasn't talented, but in my opinion, he was not the best player in college football. If you put Travis Hunter on Boise State, do you think Boise State makes the playoffs last year? Nope. You put Ashton Genty on Colorado. Do I think Colorado wins the Big 12 and makes the playoffs last year? 100% I do. So that's a topic for another day, but
that's a
they,
great
they,
hot take, and I love it.
they lose Ashton Genty. And so are they going to
And
be good? But yes, and they should be the favorite, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year.
I don't think that they can repeat because last year they go to Hawaii, they get stifled in that first half, and they figure it out and win against Hawaii, mainly because of Ashton Genty, but he was stymied a lot in that first half. I think they went to Wyoming. Without Ashton Genty, they don't win that game. Like there are some games that they win without Ashton Genty last year, but even with Ashton Genty that they struggled. Now you take him away, and if you still struggle, you don't have that guy to lean on to help you get over that hump. I think there are some games on this schedule that if you don't get off to a hot start, if you're struggling, you don't have that ace of spades in your pocket to lay that trump and just will you to a win.
I mean, I understand why they're. I mean, if you look at the G5 teams, they are the betting favorite in terms of making the playoffs, and I understand why that is. I don't necessarily agree with it.
Okay, excellent. I appreciate your honesty, man. That's why I said this is going to be a free flowing conversation. A lot of questions thrown at you.
Week 1, schedule it. If you're not going to watch it, you need to. Boise State goes to South Florida. South Florida has Byron Brown coming back. That USF team has a lot of returning production coming back. That staff is on the hot seat at USF. They need to get things going, otherwise I could see that staff no longer being there. And it's going to be two really good teams with returning production. Their quarterbacks are returning, got good defensive production coming back, all of that, and it's going to be probably a really fun game to watch. And then obviously you got Idaho traveling to Florida. That will be, that schedule is real. While it's hard for fans to understand it, there's something that goes from West Coast to East Coast. There's something about it, but that will be a fun game, and that could be ultimately like the tone setter for the season.
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. Is there somebody in the G5 who could win the Heisman this year?
I don't think. I mean, there's no Ashton Genty. I mean, I think Ashton Genty was just he was a generational talent. Number one, he was a generational talent. Number two, he played at Boise State. Like, if he played at some other G5, he probably doesn't even get as many votes as he got. Right? Boise State's kind of the media darling, if you will, of the G5, right? And so that worked in his favor. Not to say, I mean, he was a very talented player. And so I think that was kind of like a perfect storm in terms of, hey, he's playing on the G5 everybody loves because they think about the trick plays against Oklahoma. I don't know how long that's been. That's probably been 15 years ago at this point. But everybody thinks about that. Boise State's been in the national limelight for college football, multiple times over the last 10, 15 years. And so you take that plus a generational talent. I think that's what we saw happen last year. Number one, I don't think there's anyone in the G5 that is that talented, and then I don't think they don't have the Boise State hype machine behind them either. So, I mean, I don't personally see it.
if I had to pick one name, Justice, let's just say one name from the G5 is on the ballot. Who would that one name be?
Yeah.
I think that would be Brown. What can Brown do for you? USF. I think he would be the one name that would be electric and fun to watch, that people could get behind that name. And if he can make a big impression week one, I believe they also have Florida and Miami on the schedule. So you'd have those games that you're in front of the common folk watching. I think he would have the best chance to make his name on that ballot. Byron Brown. I didn't say his first name. Byron Brown.
I would go with Blake Horvath from Navy, the quarterback. If you know, you saw Bryson Daly get talked about last year. Blake Horvath from Navy could kind of have a Bryson Daly esque season in 2025. And so if I had to pick one guy, maybe get his name, it'd definitely be Blake Horvath.
In the circles that I run around with here in the Midwest, Kurt Signetti's definitely become a name that people didn't, if they didn't know him, he made sure you knew who he was rather quickly. I guess is one way to put it.
What do you say? Google me or something, right? Like
Google
Yeah.
me. I
Google me.
win. Google
I win.
me. Who is the next hot coaching name in the G5 that people need to know? Ooh, they both said,
I think DJ Kenny is probably the easy name.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one that's got the most hype around him there at Texas State. And if they continue to have success, and then if he can show success week one or so, I guess you could also say Dan Mullen, coach from Mississippi State to Florida,
yeah.
TV. Now he's at UNLV. If he's utilizing the transfer portal a lot this year, it sounds like they'll also use it a lot next year. If he can have UNLV as a top team there, I think that would be an easy name.
For me, I'm gonna go with San Jose State Ken Niumatalolo. Um, I think he will be. I think to Luke's point earlier, San Jose State can win the Mountain West, and I think if they do that, he's going to be a very popular name for some P4 vacancies.
Scotty Waldron. Scotty Waldron, UTEP. I think
I
that could
think
be.
he's a couple years away.
Well, he's a couple, but he's an exciting coach. I think UTEP is in great hands with Sky Waldron, and maybe not something that we've said in previous years.
Let me throw a name at you guys. It's a name that we are all familiar with here in Ohio. Jason Candle from Toledo. How has he been? He's been rumored to maybe move up as a coordinator into a coordinator position. Several different times his name was brought up at Ohio State as a possible position coach or coordinator candidate, and he's hung on at Toledo as the head coach for quite a while now. What do you guys think about him?
I think he struggles to get over the hump.
Okay.
I think his teams are good. Talent wise, he probably consistently has the most talent in the MAC. But his teams always kind of seem to struggle to kind of get over that hump. So I don't know. Like I feel like he was a hot name not too long ago, but I feel like a lot of the shine has kind of gone off. I actually, and not to be contrarian to Luke, but I kind of feel the same with GJ Kenny. Like he was a hot name, but the luster is kind of it's kind of cooled a little bit.
A name the layup I missed was John Summerall at Tulane. I think he's got a lot of that buzz right now, and if he can put together a good year for Tulane, which would kind of surprise me. But if he could, I think that's a name to watch. Honestly, there's going to be a whole bunch because I think there's going to be a lot of shifting and moving in the Big Ten, SEC for coaches next year. Everyone seemed to be like there was I don't know if I want to say unreasonable, but there was an ungodly amount of like stagnation this year, and not a lot of coaches moving on the Power Four. And I think it's part of it, like what's going on with this House settlement, what's going on here. And I think we're going to see almost like too much movement next year where it's like, okay, anybody who's like teetering last year is definitely gone, this year. And then anybody who's teetering is now gone this next year. So I think we're going to see a whole bunch of coaching movements in the P4.
This interview has gone by incredibly fast. I have learned so much about the G5. I don't want to hold you guys too much longer, but I do have some fun questions. Let's do some rapid fun questions for you guys, okay? Who has the best atmosphere in the G5? Who's got the best home atmosphere?
App State, JMU, something like that.
I would throw Marshall in that mix.
Okay.
Sunbelt.
All Sunbelt. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Boise State's cool too.
Yeah, it seems like they have a lot of fun when it translates well to the television. It seems like the students are really.
I mean, like,
but
if you're talking from like a single game perspective, like the single most game in all of college football is two G5s, Army versus Navy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you're going game, good call. Best uniforms in the G5.
Got to be Boise State, I think. I just love the orange. The orange pops so much.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go contrarian. I'm gonna go from a bit from our G5 Worker Bee series. The best uniforms this year will be Middle Tennessee, because Middle Tennessee, they're doing away with all their alternative jerseys, helmets. They're going to go plain Jane, and they've decided they were able to save $1 million with their uniforms and just going plain Jane. That they reinvested that $1 million back into their players and used that for NIL. So while it might be boring looking, Middle Tennessee, because that money is not going to look good, play good, feel good, all that stuff. It's going to the players.
What about FIU's Miami alternate?
Ooh, yeah.
Let's see. If Miami, you one single uniform, 100%.
Those are sweet.
I prefer the black ones over the white ones.
Okay.
I would love to see like a powder blue or pink based uniform this year. But yeah, from one single uniform, yeah, those are pretty badass.
Yeah. No love for Coastal Carolina guys?
I would pick East Carolina. It would be my next team after Boise State.
Oh, okay. Purple and yellow there. That's a good color. That's always a good color combination. I love the teal and Coastal though. They're like, we're all in. Let's teal it up. Everything.
A lot of teal.
A lot of teal, says Luke. Best mascot in the G5 is who?
Hilltoppers.
Yeah, I mean that's not even close, man. Big Red.
Big Red.
Oh, Moff is going. That's right. Topper talk, baby. Yeah, they're all over that one. Yeah, very, very cool. Okay, okay. I got you. All right. This was a lot of fun, guys. Did I miss anything? Best food, right? Who's got the best food venue for the G5? I mean, I know you.
Coastal. $1.
It's free. It's free concessions at Coastal, baby.
What?
Well, it's free hot dogs, free nachos, popcorn
and soda
and water.
Shut the front door. Are you serious?
That's serious.
Do you guys know how much a hot dog and a pop costs at Ohio Stadium when you go to a Buckeye game?
It's probably $20, right?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but
how expensive it is.
Look it up. They
announced it this year.
Coastal Carolina, the College Huddle needs to come to a game. We're gonna bring the G5 and the College Huddle in, and we will do an eating competition for you live during the game. We will promote this, man. Let's do this.
Dog eating contest.
Yeah, Jimmy Chestnut, where are you at, bro? Can Jimmy Chestnut eat more hot dogs than us three in one setting?
Well, he could definitely eat more than us. I think even if it's us combined, he'd eat more than us.
Yeah, I
He
think
might.
he won this year with 70 and a
Right.
half, I think.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
like
He
I
did.
don't know that I mean like I feel like I could do like 20 in 10 minutes. That'd be about my limit
Well,
before I started regurgitating.
when the Columbus Clippers had Diamond Dog night, they saw this guy coming in there like, oh crap. I'm like, here's my dollar, here's my dogs, let's go. Oh, that's funny, man. That's great. All right, man. This has been a lot of fun, guys. I need to have you guys back on here again. We're currently doing a series where we're calling conference simulation, where we take, I don't know if you guys have seen those videos yet. We've done the Big 12, we've done the SEC, where we take last year's results, we throw them in a bracket, and we bring two people on from the conference, and we say, with today's rosters in a game on a neutral field, who would win that game? We simulate the tournament, and that gives us an idea of who would win. I might have to bring you guys on to help us do this for some of the conferences. It's been a ton of fun because I just don't. I'm not in the weeds with the G5 like you guys are. You guys know the names, you know the coaches, you know their schedules. You guys are just killing it over there. Again, tell everybody where they can find your guys' podcast at.
Find us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the G5 Hive. We're on YouTube at G5 Hive. We are we didn't talk about we talked about, we never mentioned the name. We call it our Worker Bee series, where we interview a beat reporter for every G5 school. These episodes last like an hour. And we talk offense, defense, offensive line, defensive line, kickers, punters, long snappers. Like we're really getting into the weeds. I don't know, what have we done? 50 some so far out of 60, I think 68 teams.
Wow.
So
when do you guys start recording those?
This year we started in April.
Okay. So basically
So
right after spring ball.
Yep.
We've done 58 so far of the 68. Our first one started was April 9th.
Wow.
Yep. So
Guys,
we wait for spring ball to be done, and then we do them. And so
right, makes sense.
They're all there. If your team's not, if your G5 team is not there yet, they will be. We will have a preview for every single G5 team, including Washington State and Oregon State this year. That's our hope, anyway.
Excellent. Go check that out, guys. They do great work. They're killing it over there. We're tickled pink to have them a part of the College Huddle, and this was a fun interview. One of the things I do a call-in show on my Ohio State podcast on Thursday nights, and it is so much fun to sit here in my office while I do that call-in show, and over here on the TV, I've got all the games playing, man, all of them, and I rotate through them, and I saw so many great G5 games last year that came down to the wire. They were a ton of fun. It is if you are a college football fan, guys, take the time to watch some G5 football. It is fun. It is awesome, and these guys, if you're going to do that, go follow these guys over at the G5. They deserve your subscription and for you to check out their content. Anything else you guys want to mention before we head out of here?
Justice, do you have a G5 team to represent in the playoffs?
Oh, man. If I had to pick a team, I'm going to pick this not because I think they're the best G5 team, but I think they're going to have the best record. I'm going to go with Western Kentucky.
I'm going to go with San Jose State. I would have gone Navy, but I think them playing Notre Dame towards the end of the season kind of puts a damper on that. But I think Navy could legitimately be that team that represents the G5. But give me San Jose State.
Well, if Notre Dame has a good season and they have a good showing, that can't hurt. That can only help, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's a balance of like who has. There's I don't know. I would say like the actual. If I had to guess like how many teams, like I would throw in the mix to pick from is probably somewhere around, I don't know, 15 maybe, that I think have a legit shot. And then it's like, hey, do they show enough in the schedule? Or B, is their schedule easy enough that they have a great record, right? That's kind of the conundrum I think you face with G5, with the G5 representative.
Go check them out, everybody. We'll bring them back on the College Huddle again once things slow down a little bit for them after they get done with their Worker Bee series. But guys, thank you for taking the time to join me this Sunday evening for this recording. It means a lot to me that you guys took the time to do that, even though you guys are recording every single night while you guys do that. So hats off to you. Appreciate your devotion for college football and the G5. Go check them out, everybody. Make sure you do that. Until next time, guys, remember, check out the College Huddle. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think about what we think down in the comment section below. We would love to read all your comments and see what you all are thinking about the topics we brought up tonight, talking about college football in the G5. Have a good night, everybody. Till next time, be kind to one another, and we'll catch you on the flip side.